Good afternoon, good morning, good evening. I don't know where you're at. Maybe in Germany, it's evening. You're 6 hours plus. But listen, thanks for uh, just listening to my podcast. This is LJ, the Go Biz Guy, the podcast for entrepreneurs by entrepreneurs. Today, we have a very interesting guest with us. He's been on before, but I want to kind of trail his progress and what's happening and everything. And so I'd like to introduce to you Nick Watson. Nick, welcome. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So listen, Nick, give me a little bit of background on yourself. Uh, where'd you grow up? University, that type of thing. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Oh, wow. Okay. Okay. Yeah. I love it. Yeah. Right. Right. Yeah. Oh, I'd say. Yeah. Okay. Hmm. Oh, I'm sure. Jeez. Yes. Go ahead. Yeah, yeah. So it's interesting because in all fossil fuels, all gasoline, all natural gas, we've created our own demand for electricity, right? And and so there's a cost to be paid for everything that we dig up, whether we drill, baby drill, or whether we tap into coal, which is quite comforting because I do live in not in the coal fields, but I live in and around, and it's very cool to see coal trucks go through the where I live, and so I don't think, and this is interesting because I think there's a lot of talk about I'll probably get this acronym wrong, but the EVS cars and everything that Elon Musk introduced, and there's a big transformation of what's going on with this whole process. But what they don't understand is that there's a there's a huge demand for lithium. Okay, and all that stuff has to be utilized for these electric cars. So, to tap into another aspect of coal is very important. And so I have a friend of mine, his family owns about, I don't know, 20, 30 grocery stores. And we were talking the other day, and he's an electrical engineer. So you guys would probably have a lot in common. But the thing about it is that his refrigeration. I'm kind of tying this all into EPA, but the refrigeration aspect that he's going through right now is tumultuous. I mean, he's got different layers of what the EPA is trying to standardize for the stores, and then now carte blanche, they want to use just nothing but CO2. And so the EPA plays a really somewhat good role and then a very bad role. Would you kind of share with me what your thoughts are on the EPA? Right. 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 Oh, wow. Okay. Okay. Wow. Well, you, well, that brings up an interesting point in my mind. That sounds very socialistic in terms of possibly, you know, putting a stop to coal because there are environmentalists and there are some government folks. Um, I don't know. We may end up naming some, but um, they would actually want to destroy the coal environment and have you know windmills and they'd want to have solar power, uh, you know, and so I get really confused by some of uh, the messages that I get, and then you're saying that if we have this, we'd have anarchy and everything. So would that mean that we would start living like Russia or other countries? That's what I thought. Yeah. Uh-huh. Oh, so okay, so you're not um, um, so the United States. I mean, you're talking about carbon, pollution, and so you're advocating that the carbon capture and storage. They're not ready for this in the USA. So how does this position your company in order to make advancements to companies or let's say tonight, excuse me, I'm attending a kind of a hometown meeting with Herc in West Virginia and AEP, and there's a trail called Meeks Trail, and what they're doing, and one of my questions is, how does the electric company determine needs? Okay. And this has been a conversation of mine with my son-in-law and some other people. My son-in-law is a pharmacist, so you can imagine the kind of conversation I have with him. But, they're saying they want to go right through the trail and ruin the economic or the environment and go with this grid that they have to because there's a huge demand of electricity. And so I don't understand how, there's coal-fired plants, there's gas-fired plants, there's carbon pollution everywhere. Okay. Why does AEP, I'm not bashing them, but why do they just go ahead and say, well, we got to go here? And then they want to increase your rates. I don't understand and then the EPA doesn't even get involved with this, or does the AEP have to concur with the EPA standards for blowing away this frickin' trail? Right, right. Oh my gosh. Wow. Yeah. Okay. Right. Right. Okay. Right. Sure. Yeah. Uh-huh. Right. 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 Yeah. Right. Yeah. Right. Right. Hmm. Okay. Right. Right. Exactly. Right. Right. Uh-huh. Yes. Right. Hmm. Right. Oh, wow. Okay. Right. Excuse me. Okay. Wow. No. Right. Yeah. Okay. Okay. So, so you guys like, okay, so you guys can collect heat and energy greater than the windmills or the solar panels, correct? Okay. Okay. So why can't you roll this out to the consumer for their houses rather than you know, everybody buying those panels? Okay. 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 All right. So tell me a little bit about this power performance agreement that you're working with. And just as a sidebar, a relative of mine, I think his cousin, is working with a research company, and they're looking at water that rolls off of coal, and they're finding minerals within that, and so they're thinking about trying to collect that for silver and other special metals that don't exist here in the country as much as they do overseas. Um, so I don't know whether you guys need to get together or whatever, but I think that, so what is the power performance agreement? I don't understand. Like, so there's a learning outcome from an educational perspective that says we're going to do this based on our trough, and then the outcome is going to be so much kilowatts. And selling it, right? Exactly. Yes. Sure. Right. So, so why? Okay, so bring me to another question. How does the Public Service Commission have an effect on this? And the other thing of it is um, so so the microgrid, is that like a substation? Um, okay, all right, right. Well, No, no, I mean, this is some good stuff. But so for instance, it seems like, and this is just my observation, because that's all I am as a casual observer, that when there's a huge storm somewhere, okay, and then the next 6 months, um, AEP comes out and says, well, we're filing for a 15.5% increase in our rates across the board. Okay. And so you say to mitigate cost, okay, or risk, to be more specific. I understand that they're in the money making business, but it appears to me that your particular system could possibly have an effect on the electric companies to not go to the PSC for increases in rates. Is that true? Right. Wow. Wow. Hmm. Right. Hmm. So, so overall, though, and go ahead. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah. So, thank you. Well, yeah, and that probably, yeah, is my next question. So, basically there's two things. We've talked some time ago. And so, how have you improved um, the ideology of your market? What is the perception of your project in the marketplace? And I know that you probably have to deal with some political folks, et cetera, et cetera. But how are you actually marketing to the target audience that you just described? Right. Wow. Wow. Right. Right. Okay. Well, right. 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 Yeah. Well, that brings up an interesting point because let's talk about profits for just a minute. I don't know whether municipalities are governed by certain laws that they can't show a profit. I know nonprofits have some legal aspects that they cannot show a profit supposedly. But if I was a commissioner on a board and I saw that our sanitation was reducing the cost and we're still charging the same rate, okay, ethically, I don't know. I would always say, well, let's just leave it as is, and our ROI is up. Hmm. So go ahead. Thank you. Okay. No, no, because that's where I was going with this. Okay, so no matter what happens, and I would be almost interested in the your PPA with the wastewater treatment in Charleston, West Virginia, as to how when did it start, what's happening with their electric, treatment stuff for energy and everything. Because I think what you're doing in terms of strategies is spot on too. I think there's so many legal problems and EPAs and Public Service Commission, et cetera, that there's a lot of stuff to manage and muddle through. But I think it's just like anything else. Once you see a breakthrough, you're going to have word of mouth probably spread like wildfire. And I think the municipalities are probably one of the things that need to be targeted from a marketing perspective and everything. So I think you're doing a tremendous job. And I think that to push this out, I have quite a few people I push out my podcast to, and I think this whole thing about what you're doing, and I just applaud you because I don't think there's too many people that are doing what you're doing in order to help reduce electric. I think, and I don't know whether I told you this or not, but it would almost be nice if you probably somewhere down the road, if Trump gets elected, that you go to the top and start talking about stuff like this. And I think that it would be a really good breakthrough. Or one of your chemists, or where's your corporate office actually located at? Okay, right. I would too. Yeah, yeah. Right. Mm-hmm.